What you just heard is a beautiful piece done by Braulio, and here we are live in studio talking with Alex. What we're going to be discussing today with Braulio is all his accomplishments throughout his career, professionally, musically, and all he's achieved. We also have a few guests here. Next to me, we have Liu Kang and Kitana. Pretty soon it'll be their anniversary. They've been married close to 2 years now. But never mind them. Braulio, the man with the plan, how are we doing tonight?
Hey, I'm doing fine, man. Thank you for inviting me down. I'm very happy to be here today.
So for the people who don't know you, are going to get to know you throughout this interview we're going to be conducting here. For beginners, what can you tell us about yourself? Where did you grow up? In New York City, outside New York City? If so, in New York City, what borough?
Well, in the first place, I was born in Panama, Republic of Panama, Central America. And I came here at the age of 16 years old. And I grew up partly in Brooklyn. And the rest of my life, I lived here in Manhattan. I have lived in Hawaii. I've lived in different places. But my main residence is New York. And I love it. What can I say?
Great. Now, as a youngster getting here to this country at the age of 16 is what you mentioned, what were the first accomplishments you had in mind when you came in?
Well, in the first place, when I came to the United States, I came here seeking medical assistance for my vision because I was losing my vision rapidly, and my parents had no idea what to do. So we came seeking help from the doctors and information to see what they could do about it. And I got here and I loved it, and I am here. I'm still here after 40 years or more.
And how did this eye condition develop that you have?
Well, my eye condition became noticeable when I was 13 years old or 14, but I acquired that by too much oxygen. I'm a premature baby. No one would tell that I'm a premature baby, but yep, I weighed almost 2 pounds and I was a premature baby. What can I say? Too much oxygen in the incubator at that time, and that's what gave me this blindness.
Okay, so you came to this country seeking medical assistance to see what could be done for you for the rapid loss of vision that you were experiencing at the time. After you came here and found out that whatever could be done at the time was all that could be done, were you attending a special school regarding visually impaired and blind individuals of your age?
Well, no, because at that time I already had accomplished schooling for the blind in Panama. I did 1 or 2 years in Panama because I was way advanced in my studies. At the age of 13, I already was in the 11th, going on the 12th grade. So I was blessed. I don't know if it's divine intervention, or divine blessing, but I was in the 11th grade at the age of 13 and going to the 12th grade. So when I got here, I got my high school diploma, and I continue on with my studies in college, and I am blessed. I was able to finish, get a degree in liberal arts, and then I got a degree in natural science and music. So,
speaking of music, like was mentioned at the beginning of the video, that was one of your latest projects. You had many, but this is one of your latest projects. To be more specific, can you tell us a little bit more of the title of the song and how it came about and how you were able to establish these different thoughts, specifically with how the song was formed?
Well, really, it is something that happened to me. I met a few people over the internet where I talk to them and give them advise and talk to them and let them know that being blind is not the end of the world and different things, and befriend a few people back in different countries. And this young lady from Guatemala, we were speaking, and then I didn't hear from her for a couple of days or weeks, and I decided to call to find out what was wrong with her. Then to find out that this pandemic took a hold of her virtual boyfriend that she had, and she loved him very much according to her, and he passed on to be, better life. And she told me about it, and as we were speaking, it started to pour, rain torrentially, and that opened up an idea to me, and I said, it sounds beautiful to hear that water falling from the sky, and the way it sounds over the internet. Man, that sounds beautiful. So she told me she wanted to write something for her boyfriend, or a song or a poem or something. And I said, something? That rain is falling so hard. Why don't you sing something while that rain is falling that you would like to say to that young man? And that's how this song became what it is today. And I was able to turn it into a couple of different genres. Salsa, I did a ballad, and let's see, I might do reggaeton or something else with it, but she likes everything I've done with it. Now she has to place the lyrics to it, and if she needs help, then I would help her with that.
Well, it's apparent you did a real good job. Everybody who hears it congratulates you on your hard work with this song. It's a great song to just sit down and listen to at any given time. And speaking about music a little bit further, going back earlier in your youth, when is it that you exactly started your musical career?
Well, it's funny that you asked that question. My musical career started back when I was 4 years old. That's when I did my first presentation on Channel 2, playing Panamanian folkloric music. We had to do a presentation, and I was 4 years old. And to me, it was something beautiful to do. To my parents, it was something hilarious that I was on television at that age and doing music. And it started by me banging on mommy's pots and pans and the stove, tabletop, anything I get my hand on, I created a rhythm with it. And that's how my musical career begun as a percussionist.
So at the age of 4 years old, your parents were able to see that there was some type of natural talent involving music. And that's when you could actually say that you actually, that's when people would say at 4 years old that you performed on TV. What is it exactly that you performed?
Panamanian folkloric music.
As far as instruments?
Instrument I played is a drum called tamborito. It's almost like a conga or a tumba, dora. At that time, is one drum, a single drum, and there's a rhythm called tamborito. But before I move any further, I must tell you that I probably inherited this musical talent due to both of my grandmother, Victoria Perman, that's my mother's mother, and my father's mother, which is Sylvia Isidora Kinch. They both played multiple instruments, both of them, and they played it well.
So you could say it was in your genetic line?
Definitely.
Okay, very interesting. So after that performance at 4 years old, where did you excel from there musically? Did you attend schools, or it was just more natural ability that took you to the level you are now?
Both.
Both, combination of both.
I have done combination of both, and my interest in music grew each time more. But I must tell you that at the beginning, my parents wanted me to play piano, and I couldn't stand it because I guess they wanted me to sit at that piano and just play piano. And when they force you to do something and you don't feel it, it's not good. So I relinquished the opportunity of learning to play piano well at that time until I grew up. Then I went back and I learned how to play some piano. So I play a few instruments, and the amount of instruments I play is about 15 of them.
15 instruments.
15 or more, yeah. Every time I am trying out something new, and this pandemic has helped me.
Well, I personally have never seen you play an instrument that you cannot perform with. I don't know how you do it, but you do it. So that number you just explained is pretty much accurate. 15 or more. I believe that. I've seen it, so no problem. Now, get back to the piano. This is a serious question I always ask somebody who tells me they play a piano. Question is, do you know how to play, or rather, do you know how to tune a piano?
Well, tuning a piano, my uncle taught me how to tune a piano, but I never continued with it because it wasn't something that was of my interest. I learned it because he said, learn it.
Yeah.
Just in case, but it wasn't something of my interest.
Okay.
And to tune a piano, you have to have pretty good hearing. And that I do have, but it's not an interest to me of tuning a piano.
Now, since you know how to tune a piano, do you know how to tune a fish?
Guess what? I only eat it.
You only eat it. Okay. That was the important question I needed to ask, because that's what I always ask everybody who tells me they know how to play a piano. So moving forward, over 15 instruments you know how to play. At this point, you're still continuing your career professionally as a musician. What are some of the accomplishments that you're most proud of at this point throughout these years?
Well, my first performance at 4 at the television station. Then I also played at church, many churches. And from there I played with large musicians that have been known, Latin American musicians. Also I had my band called Sage. I have played as a freelancer. So to me, music is something you feel, and you play it because you want to. I mean, money is good when it's paid to you, but if you can play with the feeling and you can survive, fine. And you have to be in the right place at the right time to be a superstar, because many people can play, but they never become superstars. There are people that don't play as well, but they become superstars. So to me, playing music is very important. And I have played with few musicians out there.
Do you feel comfortable mentioning a few as reference?
I am so blessed and humble that I've played with a few. Yomo Toro, which is a Puerto Rican musician. He played cuatro. I have played with Hector, the late Hector Lavoe. I got opportunities to play with him. I've been on stage and played also with Tito Nieves. I've played with my band, Sage. I've played with other musicians around, but those are some of the names that I have played with music with.
Very well-known names. I've got interested into the music, as you know, later as an adult, maybe 8 years ago is really when I started studying the music. So I'm late into the genre of that particular music. But nevertheless, I do know those names, very popular, famous names in that music. Moving on from there, you also achieved a lot of things athletically. Can you mention some of the things that you've been doing and continue to do in the adaptive world with visually impaired and blind sports?
Well, first I'll tell you that as a child and as a sighted child, I was involved in all different types of sport. Any type of sport you could think of, I have tried just about. Rugby, baseball, tennis, soccer, golf. I even made a hole-in-one, but the hole-in-one was in the same spot. I didn't put the ball in the hole. I made a hole in the ground.
You made a hole in the ground. Yeah.
But I have tried everything, and I had sport in my genes because my family also played sports. And I hated staying home and doing nothing. So my life was not watching cartoons and all that stuff. Came home, did my homework, and straight outside. Played baseball, played rugby, I did skating, everything you can think of. Marble champion. What can I tell you? And all of that transcend. So when I came here to the United States, and I was wondering, what should I do now that I'm visually impaired? What it is expected of me now in sport? What can I do? And little by little, I started finding out that there are sports that we can play, adopted sports that we can play. And I loved it. It opened up a new world to me.
So what was the first couple of sports that you got involved with at a competitive level?
Competitive level, beeper ball, gold ball, martial arts. I did track and field. You know, the javelin, throwing of the javelin,
Sure,
this throwing. You know, it was something that really opened up the door. And once I opened up the door, there was nothing I wouldn't try. I would try it, and if I like it, I stay, and if I don't, you know, I move on.
Right. And you stayed with a few of these clubs that you mentioned throughout the years. Now you're still well established as a very athletic individual, despite, you know, as we get older, but you're still very active. You play sometimes even better than some of the younger guys. Okay, but nevertheless, when you get on and you're looking to compete, it's just in your nature to do the best that you could. I've witnessed that, so I can contest to what you're saying with your athletic background. Now, what goals do you previously have moving with the different programs you're currently involved with?
Well, you know, I started gold ball in 1986.
86, okay.
I think 86 was when I really did gold ball. But before that, I did beeper ball. I started way back in 79, 80, in that time. I played and then I didn't play because of studies and time. I had to move along and make a choice. When I had time, I did it. And I have done bowling, gold ball, I have done martial arts. Now I'm into tennis, I'm into archery. I'm into everything I can do to really keep active. Folks, I'm not afraid of saying I'm 61 years old now, and thank God I feel good. And every time I step on a playing field, I'm going to give it all I have. And I'm as competitive as you can find, a person that you can find.
So despite your age, you're still very motivated, still looking to move forward and compete in these various sports that are new to you, such as what you mentioned, archery, tennis, and perhaps even more.
Yes, and I do fishing. Let me put it to you this way. Once I can do something to motivate me, motivate others, open up the doors to tell others of all the accomplishment we can have, to me is good. To me is something that is very good.
So it's a very interesting message, and it's something that I would like to elaborate on. Despite whatever obstacles life may bring to you as a visually impaired individual, you're still able to accomplish all these things that you're mentioning now. So it's very motivating for someone who's fully functional in all their senses and not have a reason to say to themselves, I can't do it, because you're a perfect example on how you were able to accomplish all this despite your loss of vision. So I believe that's very important that that message comes across to anybody listening. And if there's any other thoughts that you want to share.
Well, I have a message for anyone that's listening at this moment and at this time. Remember, everyone has a disability, if you want to call it that. But we cannot look at the glass half empty. You have to look at it as half full. And you can't go any lower than lower. You have to go up. And anything that you do, take your time and try to do it the best you can. Listen to the people around you. You would learn. Maybe from their mistakes, maybe from your mistakes. But the sport, life, if you pay attention, music, everything is intertwined. Tangible. Something that we all can do. Some people do it different. I might swing the bat a little bit different than you do, but as long as we get to the same goal, hit the ball, that's very important.
Very well said. Now, one more thing I want to ask you about is one of the latest athletic clubs you got involved with, the New York Lions Sports League.
Yes. You know, it's great for you to bring that up. New York Lions Sport League. It's a wonderful thing to be a Lion. Lion is not only having the name, carrying the name as a Lion. A Lion is a person who can give, who can do, who would like to share their time in helping others. And in this endeavor that we have, in bringing other people to play sports, to share with others, to teach them, and to help this world understand that there is no limit. As long as you want to reach to an area, a height, you can get there. It might take you a little longer, but guess what? You can get there. So the sports that I have inquire and I'm doing now with the Lions is I'm doing archery. I'm doing Italian style baseball. I'm also doing fishing. You know, these are things that I am doing now. Tennis, walking, exercising, getting to meet people that I didn't know before, and giving ourselves the opportunity to grow together.
Very good. And you operate with teaching as well out of the New York City area? Is
Yes.
that correct?
Yes,
You're
I
a
do.
music teacher.
Yes.
You're involved in DJing as well. If anybody's looking for a teacher or a particular DJ, how can they grab a hold of you?
Well, as a DJ, I do all different type of music. I do weddings, bar mitzvahs, different type of parties, fundraisers, or what have you. I speak few languages. I am an interpreter.
Interpreter of which languages?
Spanish and English. Spanish and English is a second language I taught at Hostos Community College.
Okay.
I also teach privately. Music I teach privately, and I also taught at Daniel Music Foundation. I have worked at Vision Services for the Blind as a sport director, and I also as a supervisor. And you know, all these things, I thank God that I'm able to do and can talk about, because without these things, you know, people don't know who I am. They might have heard my name, but now people are getting an opportunity to know who Braulio Thorne is.
And speaking of names, you have various throughout the athletic world out there. For instance, you're part of the Long Island Bombers.
Yes.
I know your name there is called Big Pappy. How did that name come about?
Ah, man, my guys. I have a friend from a Boston team, the Renegades. I mentioned them because I have some good friends there. They're a competition, and we are the one who taught them really how to play beeper baseball. And now they're so good, they're whipping our butts. But guess what? We have fun, camaraderie. You know, in this world, same way you win, you have to learn how to lose. Because once you learn how to lose, you want to win, so you're going to get better. I have a friend, and he said to me, Braulio, you know what's your name? Big Papi. And then from there, my colleagues and the Long Island Bombers decided, we're going to call you Big Papi. And I love the name. That's one of the only nickname I like. I don't know why I like that name. It just...
Well, it suits you, Big Pappy.
Big Papi, yes.
Yeah.
It might suit me, but I just like it. They have called me other names or tried other nicknames, but I'm not a person of nicknames because I never liked nicknames. But that's one I have no problem with, Big Papi.
And there's also another name that may be in other countries they may know you as, which I forget now, something along the lines of professor.
Yeah, well, professor is just my trade. It's my trade as a professor, profe.
That's the word I was looking for.
Profe is professor.
Okay.
Is an abbreviation of professor in Spanish.
So it's another name that people know you by.
Yes, when they don't know my name or they don't know what I do. I mean, they know I teach. So as a sign of respect or a sign of, reverency, they call me profe.
Okay. Very good. So once again, which is the easiest way to contact you regarding if somebody's interested in a DJ or a teacher and looking for what are the various instruments that you specifically teach? I know you play over 15 instruments, but what are some that you can mention if people are interested in contacting you within the area of New York City, which is where you operate out of?
Okay, well, I teach, they could contact me here at 646-298-7664.
All right,
that's my telephone number. Braulio Worldwide at gmail.com. That's my email address. And if people would like to learn either virtually or physically, they could get in contact with me and we could work out whatever information or whatever they need to find out. I could teach them how to do percussion, guitar, voice lessons, things like that. And whatever I don't know, we can find out because I have other contacts.
Very good. So once again, this is Talking with Alex, along with Lu Kang and Kitana, and we're very happy to have had you and interview you and get to know you a little bit better in depth with all these different accomplishments. And if there's anything else you would like to share before we sign off, by all means.
Yes, well, I would like to thank the Lions Club, the directors, all the people who formed this club, all the volunteers, everyone that forms this group, Terry, Sid, all the volunteers, as I said before, all the players from our team. Please continue to support us as we continue to help and move along in this world and try to make it better. Please, wear your mask. Please do what you have to do. This pandemic life has changed the world, but that doesn't mean we cannot stand up strong and continue living a beautiful life.
Well, thank you for your thoughts. Signing out. Thank you, everyone.